It does not possess exceptional speed or an imposing size like other animals of the savanna. It never chooses to retreat when facing danger at close range. Living alone in a harsh landscape, this animal shows no sign of hesitation. Its relentless resolve has turned it into a living legend of the wild. What is it that makes even the most formidable predators pause before the honey badger? From the African savanna to the arid landscapes of South Asia, the honey badger always finds a way to survive. Weighing only about 35 pounds, its low, sturdy body helps it stay steady in the face of danger. Front claws nearly 2 inches long allow it to dig into the ground, break open nests, and uncover hidden food. Its keen sense of smell helps it track down food across vast stretches of land. Behind its fearless reputation is a body built to endure, stand its ground, and survive. In the natural world, crocodiles are masters of ambush, keeping every animal along the water's edge on alert. With an estimated bite force of about 3,700 pounds per square inch and heavily armored scales, they have few rivals in shallow waters. However, once an individual leaves the water and moves into dense brush, that defensive advantage begins to fade. As hunger intensifies, the honey badger is driven toward a bold decision. It approaches a resting crocodile, taking advantage of a rare opportunity created by the predator's momentary lapse in vigilance. Once close enough, the honey badger acts with remarkable speed, targeting a vulnerable opening to gain the upper hand before the crocodile can fully respond. The encounter ends with the honey badger securing an energy-rich food source, enough to sustain its activity for several days. In the wild, even the greatest strength is most effective only when matched with the right environment. Snakes are predators built for lightning-fast strikes. Their exceptional ability to detect vibrations allows them to approach a target in complete silence. Many species also possess remarkably powerful biological defenses. The spitting cobra, for example, can project its venom more than 6 feet. That range can make even a seemingly safe distance disappear in an instant. Even so, the honey badger never confronts a snake recklessly. Under the scorching desert sun, it follows the trail, lowers its body, and constantly changes direction. Its target may be a viper or a spitting cobra, requiring it to maintain its distance, read every movement, and wait for the right moment. When the opportunity appears, the honey badger quickly closes in to gain the advantage. Even then, every encounter with a venomous snake remains a test of survival. A well-placed bite can leave the honey badger temporarily immobilized for nearly 2 hours. Its highly evolved immune system helps reduce the venom's effects on the nervous system, giving it a chance to recover and continue foraging. That remarkable adaptation is what defines the honey badger's resilience. On the savanna, an invisible trap known as the African rock python waits with remarkable patience. Reaching about 12 feet in length, this massive reptile restrains its prey with powerful coils that generate roughly 7 pounds per square inch of pressure. A single moment of inattention can leave many animals with little chance of escape. That advantage has made the African rock python one of the most formidable predators of the grasslands. Even so, the honey badger rarely accepts defeat. As the coils tighten around its body, its loose skin, which is almost separate from the muscles beneath, begins to reveal its advantage. This extraordinary feature allows the honey badger to twist and turn even while restrained, creating an opportunity to fight back and gradually work free from the coils. At that very moment, a jackal appears at the edge of the brush, unintentionally drawing the African rock python's attention for an instant. That brief distraction gives the honey badger just enough time to twist its body, slip free from the coils, and regain the advantage. Without missing the opportunity, it immediately turns the encounter in its favor, forcing the python onto the defensive. In this documented encounter, the outcome is completely reversed as the African rock python ultimately becomes the honey badger's prey. In the unforgiving natural world, an extraordinary physical adaptation can sometimes change the outcome of an entire encounter. The honey badger's favorite food is the energy-rich honey and the protein-packed bee larvae hidden deep inside wild beehives, especially toward the end of the dry season when honey supplies are at their peak. To reach this valuable reward, it patiently patrols an area spanning more than 10 miles, accurately remembering the location of each hive for months before returning at the right time. As soon as it hears the familiar buzz of bees or receives a signal from a honey guide bird, the honey badger immediately begins its search. When it discovers a hive inside a hollow tree or a rocky crevice, it uses its front feet and claws, nearly 2 inches long, to pry apart decaying wood or dig through hardened soil, gradually working its way toward the food source. Thousands of worker bees quickly emerge to defend the hive, but skin about 0.25 inches thick helps the honey badger withstand most of their stings. Calm and persistent, it feeds on the honey and larvae before moving on once its objective has been achieved. This behavior reflects a remarkable combination of memory, endurance, and adaptability refined over time. Those advantages allow the honey badger to make efficient use of a food source that very few species are willing to challenge. On the African savanna, lions are widely regarded as the kings of the wild, apex predators that command the attention of many other animals. An adult male weighs about 420 pounds, giving it the strength to overpower many rivals and protect its pride. Even so, that authority is put to the test when the opponent is a honey badger, a much smaller animal renowned for its fearlessness and powerful survival instincts. When a lioness and her cubs approach the honey badger's shelter, it immediately emerges to defend the area. The curious cubs cautiously move closer, while the honey badger lowers its body, changes direction repeatedly, and maintains a defensive stance. Its decisive response makes every approach more cautious. In the end, the lioness leads her cubs away, bringing the encounter to a close without further escalation. Another challenge soon follows. In the Kalahari, an adult male lion views the honey badger as an easy target. As the lion closes in, the honey badger quickly turns to keep its back protected, blocks the approach, and forces the larger predator to proceed with caution. Despite its overwhelming strength, the male lion gradually realizes that the encounter is far more difficult than expected. After an extended standoff, without gaining a clear advantage, it abandons the attempt and walks away, leaving the honey badger standing its ground. In the natural world, size may command power, but agility, adaptability, and unwavering determination can sometimes shape the outcome. During the dry season on the African savanna, as temperatures climb to nearly 95 degrees Fahrenheit, shrinking waterholes become places where many species are forced to cross paths. Amid the growing tension, the honey badger relies on its agility to maintain access to this precious water source. The first encounter comes with an oryx, armed with horns, measuring nearly 47 inches in length. A sudden thrust briefly throws the honey badger off balance, but skin about 0.25 inches thick and its low, sturdy build allow it to recover quickly, hold its defensive position, and continue standing its ground. Not long afterward, an African elephant weighing nearly 13,000 pounds approaches the waterhole. The honey badger quietly moves in, circling around the elephant's feet and prompting it to turn, stamp, and kick to maintain its distance. Dust quickly fills the air, yet the honey badger remains persistent despite the enormous difference in size. That determination is believed to be linked to its relatively large brain-to-body ratio, and elevated testosterone levels, particularly during the breeding season. In the harsh, dry season, adaptability can sometimes become an advantage that reaches far beyond physical size. No movement beneath the ground escapes the eagle's watchful eyes. From high above, it folds its wings and dives like an arrow slicing through the air. Every strike combines remarkable speed, razor-sharp vision, and flawless judgment. When its territory is challenged, the eagle closes in, forcing its rival to retreat. What makes this aerial warrior the most formidable master of the skies? On the steep, rocky slopes of the Alps, mountain goats stand among nature's greatest masters of balance. Despite weighing many times more than a golden eagle, they confidently make the most rugged cliffs their home, believing those towering ledges provide an untouchable refuge. Yet that very confidence in the terrain creates an opening for one of the wilderness's most refined hunting strategies. From thousands of feet above, the golden eagle's keen eyes track a family of antelopes moving across the edge of the open grassland. The moment a young antelope drifts away from the herd, the ruler of the skies folds its wings and dives. At around 150 miles per hour, the eagle turns its dive into psychological pressure, startling the prey, throwing it off balance, and stripping away its advantage. In that moment, the terrain that once served as a shield becomes a severe challenge. The young goat slips from the rocky ledge and falls nearly 300 feet into the valley below. Similar encounters show that the eagle succeeds through patience and an exceptional ability to exploit its opponent's fear. After the encounter, the eagle carries nourishment back to the nest, completing another cycle of survival in the mountain wilderness. Across river systems and coastal ecosystems, fish are an essential food source, accounting for approximately 80% of a sea eagle's diet. Every successful catch is more than instinct at work. It is a vital effort to sustain the energy needed to power wingspans that can approach 7 feet. From high above, the eagle patrols with remarkable patience, keeping its full attention on the calm surface below. Thanks to its exceptional eyesight, it can detect even the slightest movement of prey nearly 2 feet beneath the water. The predator subtly adjusts its wing beats to match the wind, maintaining perfect balance before committing to a carefully calculated dive. When the moment is right, the eagle descends like an arrow at speeds of up to 80 miles per hour. Compensating for the effects of light refraction, its talons seize the target in an instant before lifting powerfully back into the air. It is a display of extraordinary precision, where the laws of physics become an enduring tool for survival. Yet sea eagles do not rely solely on direct hunting. At times, they choose to observe and apply pressure to other water birds, taking advantage of opportunities to obtain food while conserving valuable energy. Across the grasslands of East Africa, antelopes rank among the savanna's finest athletes. Capable of sprinting at speeds of around 50 miles per hour and leaping nearly 10 feet into the air, they appear well equipped to outrun danger. Yet across the vast open plains, a single moment of drifting away from the herd can quickly turn freedom into a dangerous vulnerability. High above, the martial eagle reads the savanna like a constantly shifting map. With an impressive wingspan exceeding 6 feet and eyesight up to 8 times sharper than a human's, the predator quietly fixes its attention on a young antelope falling behind the herd. In an instant, the eagle folds its wings and plunges downward at remarkable speed, turning surprise into its greatest advantage before the young antelope can recognize the threat descending from above. High above, the martial eagle reads the savanna like a constantly shifting map. With an impressive wingspan exceeding 6 feet and eyesight up to 8 times sharper than a human's, the predator quietly fixes its attention on a young antelope falling behind the herd. In an instant, the eagle folds it. In the wild, venomous snakes are masters of stillness, equipped with some of nature's most sophisticated chemical defenses. In certain species, venom can be projected as far as 10 feet to protect their territory. That silent presence creates invisible pressure, encouraging almost every potential rival to keep its distance. Yet one of the most formidable natural rivals of venomous snakes comes from the skies. Across Africa, eagles, especially the snake eagle, do not rely on superior size. Instead, they depend on dense feathers, heavily scaled legs, and the ability to maintain a safe distance during every approach. With a gripping force of around 400 pounds per square inch, the eagle gains control of its prey in a decisive instant. Its success, however, comes not from raw strength, but from controlling the most dangerous point before the snake has a chance to respond. Even highly venomous sea snakes must eventually rise to the surface to breathe. From a commanding position overhead, the eagle quietly scans the water, lowers its flight path, and makes a precise approach. Once the snake is lifted from the ground or the water, its ability to respond effectively quickly diminishes. That is the remarkable art of adaptation practiced by the ruler of the skies. At the top of the food chain, the eagle stands as a proud symbol of freedom. Yet when territory is challenged, its most formidable rival can sometimes be another eagle. Across the cold northern skies, a white-tailed eagle and a golden eagle converge over a resource-rich hunting ground. With no room to retreat, they engage in an aerial contest to establish territorial control and secure access to food. Powerful wing beats, mid-air talon locks, and sweeping pursuits turn the sky into a stage of relentless maneuvering. In the end, a single mistimed movement is enough for the weaker eagle to lose its advantage and withdraw from this vital hunting territory. Nature's harshness is also reflected in the precarious nests high above the ground. When food becomes scarce, the forces of natural selection begin to take effect. Guided by their most basic survival instincts, the young eaglets must prove their resilience. In the wild, there is little room for leniency. Only the most resilient individuals are strong enough to inherit their place as rulers of the sky. Within the dense rainforest canopy of South America, the harpy eagle turns hunting into the art of a silent ambush. Rather than pursuing prey across open skies, it weaves through narrow gaps between branches to approach howler monkeys. These primates, weighing up to about 30 pounds, possess keen hearing and a highly organized alarm system. As a result, even the slightest mistake can bring the hunt to an immediate end. The eagle selects a heavily covered branch near the monkey's feeding area and remains completely still for hours. It draws its body inward, using the surrounding foliage to conceal its nearly 7-foot wingspan. As the rainforest grows quiet once again, the monkey troop gradually becomes accustomed to its surroundings and begins to lower its guard. At precisely that moment, the harpy eagle shifts from patience to action. Flying low through the middle canopy, it approaches from a blind angle where the prey has little time to react. With 5-inch talons, the eagle secures its target among the narrow gaps between swaying branches. This strategy creates pressure not only for howler monkeys, but also for slow-moving sloths high in the treetops. Deep within the rainforest, speed is not always the deciding factor. The true lesson of survival lies in constant awareness, because a single moment of inattention can make every advantage disappear. In the wild, rabbits are far from the fragile creatures many people imagine. Nature has equipped them with long ears that can rotate independently, allowing them to detect even the faintest sounds from far away. Their eyes, positioned on the sides of the head, provide an almost panoramic field of view, enabling them to recognize danger long before a predator closes in. The moment an eagle's shadow sweeps across the grassland, the pursuit quickly intensifies. The rabbit immediately relies on sharp zigzag turns, abrupt changes in direction of nearly 90 degrees, and leaps reaching almost 8 feet to disrupt the predator's approach. Each rapid maneuver forces the eagle to calculate every move with precision, combining keen vision, speed, and exceptional spatial awareness. The golden eagle, however, does not pursue recklessly. Instead, it calmly reads the rabbit's path, cuts ahead of its route, and waits until the chase reaches the edge of the forest, where obstacles become more numerous. In a brief instant, the ruler of the skies lowers its wings, makes a precise approach, and gains control of the situation. With a success rate of about 20% against adult rabbits, every successful hunt reflects patience and precise timing. That nourishment helps sustain the next generation growing in the nest. A single set of tracks across the ice can change the rhythm of life in the Arctic. The polar bear does not hunt with haste, but with patience and precision. Yet it faces more than prey, as it must also compete with others of its own kind. What allows the ruler of the North to endure every challenge the frozen wilderness presents? Across the Arctic Sea ice, the polar bear stands as the region's largest predator. An adult male can weigh more than 1,000 pounds, giving it the strength to travel long distances through biting winds. Its broad paws, thick layer of body fat, and insulating fur allow it to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Its powerful sense of smell enables it to detect prey from miles away. But as the sea ice continues to shrink, every hunt becomes an even greater test of survival. Across the windswept tundra, herds of caribou travel more than 2,000 miles each year in search of seasonal grazing grounds. Their endurance, ability to cross rugged terrain, and tightly coordinated formation help them adapt to the harsh conditions of the far north. Even while crossing icy rivers, the herd maintains its steady movement to protect calves and slower members. Although caribou are not a common food source, the polar bear knows how to seize an opportunity while traveling on land. It quietly reads the wind, takes advantage of the snow-covered terrain, and patiently waits for a calf or a weakened animal to drift away from the herd. Only when the distance is close enough does the bear accelerate to about 25 miles per hour, quickly closing the gap before its target can rejoin the group. For an adult caribou, the challenge becomes far greater. It constantly changes direction, relies on its speed, and enters icy water in an effort to escape. Yet the polar bear's powerful swimming ability allows it to continue the pursuit. When the moment is right, the bear brings its hard-earned meal ashore, gaining the valuable energy it needs to endure the long, unforgiving months of the Arctic winter. In the Arctic, few challenges demand more caution from a polar bear than a herd of walruses. A full-grown walrus can weigh more than 2,500 pounds, with tusks nearly 3 feet long and a layer of blubber almost 6 inches thick, forming a powerful natural defense. Against such an advantage, a direct attack often costs far more energy than it is worth. Rather than relying on strength alone, the polar bear depends on patience and careful judgment. It quietly watches from the edge of the ice, using the wind and every gap in the herd's formation to move closer without drawing attention. When the distance is right, the bear suddenly applies pressure, prompting the herd to shift towards the water's edge. In that brief moment of confusion, a calf or a weaker walrus may become separated from the protection of the group. The opportunity, however, disappears quickly. Adult walruses immediately regroup, tighten their formation, and use their impressive size to protect one another. If the bear recognizes that the risk outweighs the reward, it chooses to withdraw and wait for another opportunity. Across the unforgiving sea ice, success belongs to the one that conserves energy and acts at exactly the right moment. Unlike seals, which provide the essential fat they rely on, polar bears use salmon and seabirds as strategic supplemental food sources when the sea ice melts. During the brief summer, when temperatures can approach 50 degrees Fahrenheit, changing conditions force them off the ice and onto land. At this stage, every small source of protein becomes increasingly important. Along coastal cliffs, thousands of seabirds, including guillemots and puffins, gather to nest. The bear approaches quietly, using its keen sense of smell to locate eggs and chicks. It moves along the shoreline or carefully climbs steep terrain to avoid alerting the colony too soon. When an opportunity appears, the bear acts swiftly, making the most of the available food before the birds can respond as a group. At river mouths, where salmon swim upstream through water only a few feet deep, the polar bear switches to a close-range hunting strategy. It guides the fish into narrow channels or shallow water, where they have less room to maneuver. Although this food source cannot replace the rich blubber provided by seals, it helps the bear maintain its condition and extend its chances of survival. Polar bears depend almost entirely on seals, which provide about 90% of their energy intake. A seal's thick layer of blubber is a vital source of fuel, allowing the bear to build energy reserves and maintain body heat in conditions that can fall below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Every successful hunt is more than a meal. It can mean the difference between exhaustion and making it through the harsh season. Across the sea ice, the polar bear demonstrates the skill of a true master of stealth. After spotting a resting seal, it quietly swims beneath the icy water, while its dense double coat and thick layer of body fat help retain heat and minimize heat loss. As it reaches the edge of the ice, the bear carefully watches, adjusts its position, and launches a sudden strike. Even so, the success rate remains below 15% because seals remain highly alert. A second hunting strategy takes place at breathing holes, where seals must surface for air. The bear may wait in ambush for hours or even days, remaining almost completely motionless in the freezing wind. Once the timing is right, it quickly secures the opportunity and blocks the seal's escape in an instant. If successful, the bear gains a valuable source of energy from a layer of blubber that can be up to about 4 inches thick. In the Arctic, survival depends on far more than strength alone. It is the combination of patience, instinct, and remarkable adaptability that allows the polar bear to thrive. That precision has transformed the unforgiving sea ice into the polar bear's kingdom. Polar bears do not only hunt for food, they must also face rivals of their own kind. These encounters are often brief, yet they can determine access to food and mating opportunities. Across the sea ice, a single meeting is enough to erase the distance of safety. When two adult bears approach the same food source, tension builds in silence. They move slowly, lock eyes, and rise up to display their size. In most cases, the weaker bear retreats because wasting energy in extreme cold carries greater risk than giving up the opportunity. If neither one backs down, the distance closes, and a brief test of strength determines the advantage. During the breeding season, competition between adult males becomes even more intense. Size, experience, and physical condition all influence access to a mate. Even so, most confrontations end when one bear recognizes that the risk has become greater than the reward. For a mother traveling with her cubs, the situation is entirely different. An adult male can become a serious threat, prompting the mother to stand in front of her young and charge as a warning. At that moment, the conflict is no longer about food, but about protecting the next generation. Across the sea ice, polar bears survive by displaying strength, judging risk wisely, and retreating when the moment demands it. Beluga whales are a symbol of intelligence and adaptability in the Arctic waters. With their streamlined white bodies, a layer of blubber about 5 inches thick, and a weight of nearly 3,000 pounds, they are well adapted to freezing temperatures, deep dives, and navigating through sea ice. But when the ocean is divided by narrow leads, their underwater advantage is no longer absolute. A polar bear cannot dive deep enough to pursue a beluga in open water. Instead, it turns cracks in the sea ice into a natural trap. From the edge of the ice, the predator waits patiently for hours, remaining as still as the surrounding snow. When a beluga surfaces after holding its breath for nearly 20 minutes, the bear immediately uses its position to gain an advantage along the icy water's edge. During summer, beluga pods migrate into shallow coastal waters, where conditions are warmer and safer for their calves. Near rocky shallows, the polar bear waits in ambush, watching for the rising tide to narrow the distance to just a few feet. As the belugas move into shallow water, their freedom of movement becomes more limited, while the bear's strength becomes the deciding advantage. These hunts are uncommon and are not always successful. Yet every opportunity demonstrates the patience, intelligence, and environmental awareness of the Arctic's top predator. At the still water's edge, a single misstep can reverse the entire situation. The crocodile surges forward without warning, using its powerful body and the terrain to cut off any retreat. Once it gains control, the targeted animal has little chance to regain control. In just a few seconds, a confident presence on land can be forced into a defensive position. This is how the crocodile turns long patience into a decisive advantage. The cheetah is one of the fastest predators on the African savanna. With a deep chest, long legs, and a flexible spine, it can accelerate to about 70 miles per hour over short distances. But after each chase across the dry grassland, its breathing rate rises sharply, forcing this big cat to seek water to recover. At the riverbank, speed no longer offers the same advantage as it does in open terrain. When lowering its head to drink, the cheetah must bring most of its front body close to the surface. That posture narrows its field of view, creating a risky gap in awareness. Beneath the murky water, the crocodile remains still, conserving every movement as it waits for a target to approach the edge. At times, a cheetah moving with others may notice subtle signs and pull back at the last moment. But when drinking alone, it is more likely to lose its early warning against a sudden surge from the water. In the Okavango, crocodiles may even move onto land to approach food sources near the river. If a cheetah pauses to guard its catch, the safe distance can quickly disappear. Where grassland meets water, speed is no longer everything. Awareness becomes the key to maintaining a chance of escape. Along the great rivers of Africa, Nile crocodiles and hippos share a narrow but resource-rich space. One is a patient predator beneath the water, while the other carries a massive body weighing around 4,000 pounds, enough to influence everything nearby. Their constant presence keeps the river in a state of tension. Hippos often control shallow areas, where they rest during the day and move in groups to maintain territory. Their powerful movements can disrupt a crocodile's approach. Under this pressure, the reptile must keep its distance, observe longer, and choose its timing with greater care. Yet beneath the murky surface, advantage never belongs to one species forever. When a young hippo becomes separated in calmer water, the crocodile's ambush instinct begins to take hold. Relying on patience, concealment, and an ability to read movement, it waits for the right moment to secure a chance of survival. This cycle is not only about competition, but also reflects the crocodile's ecological role. When a large animal completes its life cycle and leaves organic material in the river, crocodiles help utilize what remains. In doing so, they reduce pressure on the aquatic environment and help maintain the river's balance. On the African savanna, a single mistake can alter the chance of survival. African wild dogs rely on pack discipline, endurance, and coordination to offset their physical limits. Adults typically weigh around 70 pounds, reach speeds over 44 miles per hour, and sustain chases for nearly 2 miles. During the dry season, however, the pack is drawn toward waterholes that carry hidden risks. As the pack approaches the edge, a still surface does not guarantee safety. One individual stepping too close creates an opening for a Nile crocodile to surge from concealment. The sudden surge disrupts the formation, forcing the group into a defensive response. Instead of retreating, several members turn back, barking, circling, and applying pressure along the water's edge. At the same time, the crocodile tries to draw the endangered member toward deeper water, where it holds greater advantage. The combined effort of the group and the survival instinct of the endangered member shift the situation, creating a chance to break free. This is not only an encounter with an ambush predator, but also a test of the pack's cohesion. In a harsh environment, coordination becomes the most important layer of defense for African wild dogs. The life of the wildebeest is shaped by its seasonal migration across the Serengeti and the Masai Mara. Each year, more than 1 million individuals, many adults weighing close to 550 pounds, steadily follow the rains in search of fresh grass. On land, they can accelerate to ease pressure from lions, but at the edge of the Mara River, the rules of survival change instantly. After long days of movement under intense heat, thirst draws the herd toward the water's edge. Steep, slippery banks and thick mud quickly weaken legs that are built for endurance. As pressure from thousands behind pushes forward, those at the front are left with little choice but to step into the fast-moving current. It is in this moment of disruption that the Nile crocodile's ambush strategy becomes most effective. With a length of over 15 feet and one of the strongest bite forces in the animal kingdom, it uses the terrain to control disoriented targets. In the strong current, pounding hooves and crowding movement slow many defensive reactions. Each river crossing becomes more than a passage. It is a demanding test within the Great Migration. Here, the crocodile's huntu behavior adds selective pressure on individuals that are weakened or off balance. From this, the cycle of survival continues along the Mara River. In the African animal kingdom, lions and Nile crocodiles are both apex predators, yet each dominates a different domain. Lions rely on group strength on land to hunt and defend territory. In contrast, the Nile crocodile rules the river with patience, ambush ability, and armor-like scales. The boundary between land and water becomes an unstable transition zone. When an inexperienced lion approaches the water's edge or attempts to cross, it gives up much of its natural agility. Beneath the murky surface, the crocodile reveals almost no sign, yet it can sense subtle vibrations across the water. A single delayed reaction can place a land-based hunter at a disadvantage. After a sudden close approach from the crocodile, the lion quickly retreats toward the bank to leave the risky area. In deeper water, the lion's group advantage is no longer fully effective. Likewise, the crocodile must be cautious when leaving the river. On land, its ability to maneuver is more limited, making it vulnerable if several lions apply pressure at once. As a result, both species tend to avoid straying too far from their preferred environment. This encounter shows that in nature, there is no absolute strength. Power only holds its value when used in the right setting. And so the cycle of survival continues along the boundary between land and water. During periods of ecological change, intraspecific competition among crocodiles becomes a form of population self-regulation. As rivers narrow, survival instincts push these predators to conserve energy. Each encounter is not just an isolated interaction, but a reflection of the quiet, selective pressure of the environment. During the breeding season, the number of mature males increases around key water sources. Territorial competition becomes more intense, forcing less dominant individuals to leave favorable areas. Within this structure, endurance, experience, and spatial control determine the chance to maintain breeding roles. When natural prey becomes scarce, adult crocodiles may treat younger individuals of their own species as opportunistic food. This behavior can indirectly reduce pressure on shared resources, but it does not occur as a deliberate effort to control population size. Ultimately, crocodiles persist not through excess, but through their ability to adapt to changes in the river. Each individual adjusts its behavior to move through challenging environmental conditions. In the middle of Africa's dry season, waterholes become unavoidable meet-in points for many species. For antelope, the challenge is not the distance traveled, but the need to assess the water before thirst overrides caution. The herd often pauses, ears angled in multiple directions, moving forward only when no unusual signs are detected. The Nile crocodile understands this hesitation. It rests close to the bottom, with only its eyes and nostrils above the surface, waiting for an individual to drift from the group or lower its head for too long. The shorter the distance, the more limited the antelope's reaction time becomes. Yet ambush does not guarantee success. A single sound or slight movement can cause the lead animal to step back, pulling the entire herd away from the edge. At the waterhole, the outcome depends on who detects the other first, the crocodile's patience or the herd's collective awareness. The honey badger proves that relentless will can rise beyond the limits of size. Under constant pressure, it stays composed and finds openings for survival. Every challenge becomes a lesson in agility, persistence, and instinctive adaptation. Out there, smaller creatures continue to quietly redefine what strength truly means. If this journey inspires you, consider liking and subscribing to keep exploring further.